I'm truly honored and happy and privileged to be present before you and share my thoughts. As I have a reputation of being a very political person, I am not politically affiliated, but I am very political. And I think everybody who has the right to vote in India has to be political because you need to understand politics. I am not going to get into the academic aspects of Constitution. I feel I am not equipped enough to talk about this. There are far better people who can go in depth and detail on what Constitution says. What I see as a journalist covering the people on the ground is how Constitution is played on the ground, how Constitution is practiced on the ground. And that is why I remember Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar when he says that we may have achieved political democracy, but we are yet to establish social democracy. So whenever I go on the ground, I see more and more, and I can say this with confidence, that in the last 10 years, we have regressed in establishing social democracy. When he says social democracy, what he means is, he says there is one man, one vote, and one value. If you look at it mathematically, it would be one man is equal to one value. Do you see it on the ground? That is one man equal to one value? Does one man have one value? Until we are able to establish one man, one value system in India, I don't think our constitution can succeed. And the dreams of our nation builders, whenever I look at constitution and look at a society, there is a huge gap between the two. And to me, sometimes it sounds like, it reads like a dream. It more or less reads like an inspiration to reach, not really something we've been able to practice letter and spirit. And in the last 10 years, what I have seen is that we've drifted away from what Constitution has said, drifted away much more than what we were doing 10 years ago. And I cannot say this with confidence that the people who govern us today truly believe in what Constitution says. I don't think कि जो लोग हमारे पर राज कर रहे हैं आज के वक्त में वो संविधान में विश्वास करते हैं या नहीं करते, इसमें मैं पूरे विश्वास के साथ ये बात नहीं कह सकती, क्योंकि अगर ऐसा होता तो पिछले 10 साल में लगातार हमने ये नहीं देखा होता, the kind of serious assault on Constitution of India that we witnessed, not just in practice by common people, but by people who are supposed to be making laws for us, who are our lawmakers. And incidentally, out of the 4 pillars of democracy, at least 3 of those pillars are here, present in this gathering, to keep a check on the 4th pillar. So I think whatever I'm saying here today, and again I said that I will try to live up to my reputation, I cannot be politically correct. I am not politically affiliated, but I am political, and I will say what I see and how I see it. And that is why a couple of things that I want to bring to your notice when I talk about Constitution. Maybe a year ago, if I was talking about the assault on Constitution, I was a far more demoralized journalist and a very demoralized citizen of this country. But after we witnessed the repeal of the 3 farm laws, and also the way millions of people came on the street to protest against the CAA, I would say these are the people who have been able to keep our constitution alive, who have become the new dissenters. And the dissent has come, the resistance has come from people who we expected the least from. So these 2 communities were the most marginalized communities. And those were the ones who stood like a wall between a secular, democratic India and a theocratic state that they are planning to build. As an audiovisual journalist, I will see a lot of things in the language of audiovisual. Like here is this democratic, secular, liberal India, the democratic nation, and here is the theocratic state. And in between, there is a wall of people. And this wall was made by people, again, as said, who have lived on the margins of Indian democracy for the last 75 years. The farmers, the minorities, the women, the people that we did not really expect, that they had the social capital, that they had the political strength and political immunity. And they did that despite everything that they faced. And to give you an example, there are still thousands of farmers. We may be celebrating that the laws have been taken back, but there is a price that the farmers paid. Farmers claim that there have been more than 700 people who were killed or died during this whole 1 year of time. There are thousands of protesting farmers who are still facing police cases on them. With the repeal of the law, I don't know whether there's going to be a general amnesty, whether we are going to ensure that all of these cases are also withdrawn. As for CAA protesters, there are dozens of them who are still languishing in jails. There's so many of them who have gone underground, who have completely kind of, given up the social life that they used to live. So I will come to the very fact that what these movements, revolutions, I would say, did to Indian democracy, did to Indian constitution. But before that, let me also highlight and underline, and I'm very happy also to notice that the Indian judiciary, Indian bureaucracy, and the people who spoke before me, even if there is a small number of dissenters, I think these dissenters are protecting the constitution, have taken them all on their shoulders. So I'm very happy, and I want you to clap for them. Because I understand what it means to be a dissenter today. Me as a political journalist reporting on day-to-day events, day-to-day happenings taking place in India, I cannot say that even something as routine as covering the side of the victim is safe enough for me. I cannot say, the freedom of speech is guaranteed. I can definitely file a report. So the freedom of speech is guaranteed, but freedom after the speech is not guaranteed in India. So I don't know if I'm going to, file a report just based on what the victim. It may be a victim of the atrocities committed by the state, by the police, by socially and politically dominant groups. Like we saw this incident in the last 24 hours, there have been 3 major incidents. I've mostly been in transit in the last 10 days, but whatever I could kind of lay my hands on, whatever I could see in the last 24 hours, there's been a case in Prayagraj where there was a minor girl who was raped and her entire family, 4 people were killed. That's one instance. Another is from your very own state, the state where Gandhi started his Satyagraha movement. The very state here in Ranchi, a Kashmiri man, he claims that he's been beaten up for the 5th time in a row because some people wanted him to chant a religious slogan that he did not want it to. That's second. And third is Munawwar Faruqui, a comedian. His show has been cancelled in Bangalore. And he says 12 shows in 2 months. 12 shows by a comedian, which were being organized, have been cancelled in just 2 months. He's the same person who had spent 1 month in jail for the jokes he never cracked. So we've become a society. I wouldn't say becoming, I would say we have become a society, and that is why I may be sounding very disappointed and very, I would say, demoralized. I am, because part of my job requires me to meet real people and get to know and touch real people and see what kind of difficulties they have despite being the largest democracy of the world. So when it comes to freedom of expression, it is guaranteed under the constitution, but it is not guaranteed to Munawwar Faruqui. 12 shows cancelled in just a matter of 2 months. Imagine the amount of force they're putting on this one person to break him. And I really appreciate and adore this person who's again planning on doing more shows. Imagine before the 12th one was cancelled, there were 11 more which were cancelled, and still he planned the 12th one. I don't know how many of us really actually have so much of courage. In several states of India at the moment right now, there are journalists who are living under threat, they are intimidated, not just by anonymous trolls, but by people who are ruling us, their party people, spokespersons, and there is always a threat looming large over our heads. I mean, I like the fact that, people like you call me brave. I like the fact that people like you call me extraordinary, dissenting voice. But there is a price to pay every day to be that dissenter. There is a price to be paid every day to be that voice. I may be a hero, but I'm also a human. I have a family, I have friends, I have a life to live. और मेरा तो इस बात में भी यकीन नहीं है कि कोई दूसरी जिंदगी भी मिलेगी मुझे जीने के लिए. Just one life you've got. So mostly when you go out, the country of, my forefathers, country that our nation builders promised to us, when I see it getting crushed under the feet of people who we voted to power, it breaks my heart. And then I see a silver line. Then when, millions of people come on street, people might call the CAA protest as a failed protest. I would say no revolution, no protest, no movement ever goes waste. Never. The women of Shaheen Bagh, the exemplary, शाहीन बाग की वो शानदार औरतें जिन्होंने पूरी दुनिया में ये एक एग्जाम्पल, एक उदाहरण साबित किया. अभी यहाँ हम बात कर रहे हैं राइट्स की. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन गारंटीज a number of rights to us. These women, the very women who we were told कि इन औरतों को किसी मसीहा की जरूरत थी, उन कुछ औरतों ने मिलकर पूरे देश को 130-140 करोड़ लोगों को जिस तरह से डर से आजादी दिलाई. The first dissenting voice in the last 10 decades were the women of Shaheen Bagh. And even the protesters who are still in jail, there are dozens of them. I don't want to name them here because the cases are sub judice. But I still want to believe that the walls of the prison are not so tall. I hope they are not so tall that my voice doesn't reach them. From this stage, I want to recall their sacrifice that they did to protect the Constitution, to protect the basic structure of the Constitution, to protect our rights, to protect our freedom. So that's one, that I'm happy and sad both at the same time, this huge assault on India's Constitution that we see in the form of laws like CAA, laws like the farm laws, actions like the repeal of the withdrawal of Article 370 without taking any of the Kashmiris, the people who are the stakeholders. And excuse me, you're not supposed to be saying the K word. You're not. Again, I said that you're free to speak. There is freedom to speak, but there is no guarantee of freedom after you speak. So I'm one of those very few journalists who went to Kashmir when Kashmir was under total security and communication lockdown, and I documented the difficulties, the vulnerabilities of people who were living in the largest democracy of the world, but they lived under a complete communication and security lockdown for months and months onwards. I saw how lives were ruined. I saw how businesses were completely destroyed because there was no internet facility. Something you all of us take for granted, right? Just imagine a life where you will not have any internet facility, let's say for a week. Now tell me, how are you supposed to run your businesses? Tell me, how are you supposed to run your lives? So that is one of the huge assaults that we saw on the soul of India, on Constitution of India. Then comes UAPA, the way laws are made by those people who we elect to make laws for us. They use those as political weapons against us, against the very people who elect them. And that is why when we say democracy should not be allowed to become the tyranny of majority. We should make sure, as 4 pillars of democracy, all of those included, that majority does not turn into majoritarianism. There is a tendency, we've seen, there is a history of the last several decades before us, that it's very easy if we do not keep a balance, if we do not ask for accountability, if all of the 3-4 pillars do not come together and work in tandem, then there is a tendency that democracies can turn into majoritarian states. What we've seen in the last few years is a glimpse of what a majoritarian state can do. And that is why here is the role of constitution. Because Baba Bhimrao Ambedkar, he had already imagined and assumed this, that there was, and he talked about it. If you read him, he has talked about the tyranny of majority. He has talked about how there is a fear that the rule of majority can turn us into a majoritarian state, and that is why there is protection in the constitution. Protection for minority rights, protection, as we call them, human rights, women's rights. That is why we have all these rights. These rights are against the government because there is a tendency, because there is a fear that the government may trample upon our rights, and that is why it is guaranteed under the constitution. So this is against the state that we are given this protection. And I'm sorry to say that now we are kind of turning ourselves, we've reduced ourselves to be the largest democracy of the world only on papers. Another issue I want to bring to your notice, I don't know how many of you have heard about, I know almost all of you have heard about this virus called COVID-19, but I don't know how many of you really know about Pegasus. Do you know about Pegasus? Pegasus virus, Pegasus spyware? And I take pride in the fact that my organization, The Wire, was part of this consortium, international consortium of 16 media organizations and 80 journalists who conducted this investigation, which went on for several weeks. And what we discovered, the findings of this investigation was that there were more than 300 people who were being snooped on. So this is a virus, this is a spyware that is installed on your phone. And after this spyware is installed on your phone, the person who has done this has total control over your phone and over your life, mind you. Our phone is everything to us. My phone is my bank. My phone is every private, public detail is stored on my phone. And this spyware can also switch on my phone if it is off. It can switch on my camera. It can switch on my mic. So let's say if I have my phone here, and even if it's switched off, it can switch it on. It can listen to what I'm saying. It can see me and document everything. And to spy on one single person, you need to spend at least 1 crore rupees. And it was conducted, as in the people of interest at least, we discovered that, we can say this with assurance, that there were at least 12 people who were successfully spied on. But there were 300 people who were people of interest, and that includes everybody. You name them and they are there. There are opposition leaders, there are serving ministers who are being snooped on when they were not serving ministers. There are former judges, and there are journalists, social activists, there are lawyers. I said you name them and they are there. And this is a clear violation of fundamental rights, right to privacy. And today there are 300 people. The spyware, the agency that makes it is an Israeli agency. Its name is NSO. And it says that categorically it only sells the virus, the spyware, to the governments, and that to the vetted governments. Because it is considered a weapon of war. It is a war weapon. So it is only sold to the vetted governments. Now I want to know, and I want to understand, first of all, who has the amount of money to spend 1 crore on one person to spy on Indian nationals? Then again, my question would be, who is really that person, that agency, that government who's waging war on India's citizens? It is a war weapon. So the court has constituted a committee. Now we are waiting eagerly for the findings of the committee. And this is the responsibility as a journalist, as somebody who works with a set of journalists who abide by constitution values. And when people talk about nationalism, patriotism, I say to them that my journalism, the work I do, is what patriotism is to me. हाशिए के लोगों के लिए काम करना, उनकी आवाज़ उठाना, लोकतंत्र की रक्षा करना, संविधान की रक्षा करना, इस बात का ख्याल रखना और इस बात को हमेशा फ्लैग करते रहना, जहाँ जहाँ गैर बराबरी है, जहाँ जहाँ नाइंसाफ़ी है, जहाँ जहाँ किसी भी भारतीय के आंख में आंसू है और उसे पोंछा जा सकता है, जहाँ जहाँ सरकारें अपनी शक्ति का इस्तेमाल करके कहर ढा रही हैं, हर उस जगह को चेक करना, हर उस जगह सवाल पूछना, यही मेरा देश प्रेम है, यही मेरी देशभक्ति है। एक आखिरी बात और याद करना चाहती हूँ। मैंने याद किया फार्मर्स प्रोटेस्टर्स को, इसके अलावा मैंने याद किया CAA वाले लोगों को, इसके अलावा मैं भीमा कोरेगांव वाले प्रोटेस्टर्स को भी याद करना चाहती हूँ। भीमा कोरेगांव में जो लोग थे जिन्होंने संविधान की रक्षा के लिए अपना सब कुछ दांव पे लगाया, और हम सब जानते हैं दे आर द विक्टिम्स ऑफ द स्टेट। वो राज्य के, वो सरकार के पीड़ित हैं। वो नहीं चाहते थे कि वो लोग हमारे बीच रहें, वो हमारी आंख बने, हमारे कान बने, हमारा दिमाग बने, क्योंकि वो चाहते हैं कि हम सोचने की जिम्मेदारी भी आउटसोर्स कर दें, हम खुद सोचना भी भूल जाएं। इसीलिए ये कुछ डिसेंटर्स, उनकी आंख में किरकिरी बने हुए हैं, इतनी बड़ी किरकिरी बने हुए हैं जिसमें सब कुछ इस्तेमाल करके, उनके पास सब कुछ है। आप देखिए, स्टेट एजेंसीज हैं उनके पास, पुलिस है, इन्वेस्टिगेटिव एजेंसीज है, सब कुछ उनके पास है, लेकिन मुट्ठी भर डिसेंटर्स से उन्हें इतना डर लगता है कि हमारे फोन्स में वो वायरस डाल देते हैं। तो दोनों चीजें मैं साथ साथ कहना चाहती हूँ कि आई एम वेरी ऑप्टिमिस्टिक। आई एम ऑप्टिमिस्टिक बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ अस आर हियर एंड we agree with each other, no matter how small the number is. Yesterday I was in Chhattisgarh and there were at least 5,000 people who had gathered to celebrate Constitution Day. And out of those 5,000 people, at least 3,000 were women. And most of them were Bahujan Dalit women. तो एक तरफ लगता है कि सब कुछ खत्म हो रहा है, सब तबाह हो गया है, दूसरी तरफ 5,000 लोग सुनने आ जाते हैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे, और अभी भी 26 तारीख को हजारों जगहों पर, और ये मैं जब कह रही हूँ, आई एम सेइंग दिस विद फुल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, देयर वर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ सच प्रोग्राम्स व्हिच वर कंडक्टेड ऑन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे, देयर वर लैक्स एंड मिलियंस ऑफ पीपल हु पार्टिसिपेटेड। आपने राष्ट्रीय उत्सव बनाया संविधान का, नेशनल फेस्टिवल। तो जब तक ऐसे लोग हैं, संविधान कैसे मर सकता है, लोकतंत्र कैसे मर सकता है? तो एक आंख में आंसू और एक आंख में खुशी, दोनों के साथ मेरे जैसे लोग जीते हैं। जमीन पर, सोशल मीडिया पर देखते हैं कि इतनी नफरत है, एक ट्वीट करती हूं तो 100 लोग आ जाते हैं, धमकी देते हैं कि मार देंगे, खत्म कर देंगे और क्या क्या कर देंगे। दूसरी तरफ जमीन पे जाती हूं, लोग कहते हैं कि क्या आपको एक बार गले लगा सकते हैं। तो ये दोनों तरह के भारत हैं, और ये दो